Well, the big story we are tracking on NDTV, the cabinet has cleared the women's reservation bill. The Prime Minister chaired the cabinet meeting in the evening, and now the cabinet has given its nod for the women's reservation bill. So we are a step closer to the women's reservation bill actually becoming a reality. It has had a long struggle. It was first introduced back in 1996 by the Deve Gowda government, and then in 2008 it was reintroduced by the UPA, and it was passed in the Rajya Sabha back in 2010, and it has been pending in the Lok Sabha for the past 13 years. Many leaders across party lines, across ideologies have come together in support of the women's reservation bill, and now the cabinet, as per sources, have finally cleared the women's reservation bill, and it's likely to be introduced in Parliament in the special session. In fact, the Prime Minister had hinted that there are going to be historic decisions taken in the special session, and it's going to be extremely important politically. And now this game changer, as the women's reservation bill is likely to be introduced. It's not likely to be introduced on Tuesday, given the fact that it's going to be a short session and more of a ceremonial shift from the old Parliament to the new Parliament. But a huge milestone and a historic one, given the fact that the cabinet has cleared the women's reservation bill. In what form and what shape is something that remains to be seen. But now we are a step closer to the women's reservation bill becoming a reality. And Sunil Prabhu, in fact, got us this big breaking story, this big scoop on the cabinet meeting. He has more details on what next.
It's a huge historic decision, not only to get that bipartisan support at that all-party meeting for a consensus on passing the women's reservation bill, to getting it passed in his cabinet, and to really keep up with the times. India in the 21st century, as he's saying, if it has to, the 21st century has to be India's century. What better way to start off in the new parliament than to give 33% to women and clear it in the Lok Sabha. This has been pending since 2010 when that ahead of the International Women's Day, the cabinet had passed that historic decision in the Rajya Sabha. At that time, Sonia Gandhi being the pivot. This time round, Prime Minister Narendra Modi taking the current and going to pass this bill, hopefully. And we'll have to wait for the final details of that 33%. How does it work for quota under quota? Is it just a plain as it was in the present, as it was in the Rajya Sabha? What we have been made to understand is it's in the same form. And of course, the other final details about delimitation and others. And then, and as I've been saying, it needs to be ratified by at least 50% of the state assemblies in the country. And then only does it become an act. But truly a historic decision, a path-breaking legislation, an important day, as you said, for women leaders, for women movements, for women all over the country who have been striving and struggling for their voice to be heard. This will be a great opportunity. And it's just not about women's issues. They'll be able to speak on every particular sphere. And that's the most important point. So for those who criticize, women's representation as them becoming only women specific, not necessary. Women have taken a huge step forward in various roles, and they will definitely be able to play an important aspect in terms of how they go about in every sphere. As we speak, the Congress party, which is the principal opposition party, has also welcomed and has been said it's been the long-standing demand for the women's reservation bill. So you will get that bipartisan support for a two-third, passage in this session of Parliament. Having said that, there are definitely issues, as we've been saying. One, of course, is it virtually means for those who are signing off the 543 that one-third of them might not get their seats back again. How are they going to be protected? That's something that we'll have to wait and see the final details. But it is definitely, as I've been saying earlier on air, a virtual death sentence for them in terms of their political career. And how is that going to be looked after? But this is definitely a master stroke by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to get that go-ahead of his cabinet to work with various other people to understand that this is a game changer, and this could help him ahead of the state as well as national elections, which are due this year and later next year, to really set the agenda for people to understand that the BJP has fulfilled its promise of 33% reservation for women in state assembly as well as in parliament.